Hello, 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 everybody, and welcome again to another episode of All Knicked Up. Yes, I am one of your hosts, Eric, of course. Check out my information that you see there on the screen. If you want to get at me, it's finally33 on Twitter or X, whatever you call it. At all_Nicked_up is the show handle. We got an exciting show planned for you tonight. Definitely want to get into what happened last night against the Celtics, even though I really didn't see most of the game, but I've caught some highlights and I have some thoughts on some things. As you guys all know, I don't do this alone. So let me bring Joe in real quick. Ty will be joining us later. Joe, hello, my friend. How are
Hello, buddy.
you?
When do you take it off for Japan?
That's next week. I will be next week at this time. I will be on the plane.
Nice.
On my way there. So yes, next week I am going to be gone, going to Japan for about a week. Gonna do all the sites, see some of the sites, try some of the local flavor. Get a taste of a different type of culture. So I'm looking forward to the trip. But yeah, it's kind of a crunch time. It's kind of the getting down to the nitty gritty of how we're going to be going. So I'm looking forward to that.
I'm excited
So
for you, man. I can't wait to hear all about it.
yeah, I'm definitely gonna take lots of pictures and share the news with you guys. But I'm gonna miss most of the first round of the playoffs. I'll be a day ahead, so I'll kind of keep my eye on it. Obviously, I'll have my phone but in Japan, basketball is not too big. If this was China, I'm sure there'd be plenty of places to go see it. But in Japan, I don't really hear much about basketball, so we'll see what they know. I'm definitely going to be wearing some of my sports gear over there, though. I usually do when I go on vacation, just to kind of let people know that hey. So it's
Hang
also
up the
sometimes
flag, raise the flag.
yeah, sometimes it starts conversations too. I've had conversations based off of sports paraphernalia I've worn in other countries. So looking forward to that trip and to not really looking forward to the playoffs. I'm not anyway. I am not too bullish on this team, and I haven't been all year. For all the reasons we've talked about. There's a lot of things with this team I just don't like. Let's start off with last night though, because once again, the Knicks lost to one of the NBA's elite teams. They dropped a close game to the Boston Celtics, a game that Jaylen Brown didn't play that much. I do want to point that out.
No, he didn't.
But we saw a lot of things. Well, at least again, I didn't watch the game. I was out for had to go to an event, but we saw a lot of things last night, especially in the fourth quarter and crunch time that have been bothersome all season, and they kind of reared their ugly head again. I want to start off with though the not fouling up 3 points. I do not understand, and I don't understand any coach that does not take this approach, especially the way the game's played today, and how these guys, focus. The 3-point shot is such a big part of the game today, especially for a team like the Celtics, who they always kill us from out there. Doesn't matter what the game is. It doesn't matter, what time of year. That is their offense. That's what they do, especially against us. And
The
of all people,
opening game of the season, they set a record, didn't they, for the amount of 3-pointers they buried us with?
yeah. And of all people, Tatum, like everyone on the court, he's the one you let take that shot. I don't know, man. That highlights the larger problem. But what did you see last night with that game? And anything stick out to you? Anything new, or is it just the same old song?
The fouling aspect was pretty perplexing, I have to admit. There were some miscues, obviously. Bridges mishandling that pass, which was just really, really bad. To tell you the truth, last night, and what I've seen recently, I found actually a little bit encouraging. Um, I think the defense is better. I think having Mitch back on the floor is better. I don't know that we can beat Boston straight up in a series, but they seem like a team that's more capable of taking a couple of games in that series. I do think we're a second round team, a second round exit again for the third season in a row. I don't know. It feels like I'm trying to find silver linings here because it would be really, really easy to just fall off the cliff with this stuff. It's nice to see Towns playing back into form and to play dominantly because things were looking a little haggard there for a while with him. Now we know the knee is a problem, but what we saw is a player that stepped up and performed big time in a big time game. So that is encouraging. I think the recent play of OG has been encouraging, although we didn't get much out of our wings that night. We have to see if this team can center around Towns and Brunson and still keep the wings effective and not have them go into some kind of like Han Solo cryogenic state, where they're just kind of disappearing. I still believe that this team could be scary if they hit at the right time. I don't think it'll be because of coaching. I honestly don't. I think in the playoffs, teams have a way of getting hot. And we've seen it happen where teams that had no business of going as far as they did go as far. I'll talk about Atlanta from a couple of years ago when they beat us in the playoffs. They went all the way to the conference finals. Some teams just get hot, and the Knicks can get hot like that. So the regular season's gone. It wasn't the regular season that we thought we'd all see. We are relatively healthy right now. So I'm going to maintain optimism and then hopefully not be disappointed later.
Yeah. I don't know. It's hard for me to feel that way when I feel like nothing changes. It doesn't matter what happens. The script of the game always goes the same way. And yeah, at this point, you pretty much are what you are as a team. I know, yes, we have guys coming back and still probably working their way into game shape, especially Jalen Brunson, who was pretty good last night from what I saw. Yeah, he was very, very good last night. So that was encouraging to see. As we said, Mitch keeps rounding into form. Why he wasn't on the court, that's another thing. Why he wasn't on the court in one of the biggest defensive possessions of the game.
I know.
Someone explain that to me because that's why he's on the team. He's not on the team for offense. So
offensive rebounding at the end of the games is a critical skill, and he's the only one who can really do it.
Yeah. Really need to see more of him and Towns playing together. I feel like that's something they're going to have to do.
That was a coaching blunder, Eric. They should have modeled that a little bit more before you took it off of the showroom.
Yep.
Again, that's something you could dust off and implement.
No, and I mean, yeah, Mitch being out most of the year probably hurt that as well. Like they didn't have time to tinker around with it much as well. But on the flip side of it, I mean, Towns came from that last year pretty much in Minnesota when he played with Gobert, who is a very similar type of player to what Mitch Robinson brings. They bring pretty much the same thing. So I don't think it would be too much of a stretch for them to try it here and see what they can do. Now, maybe it's something they work on, whatever time they have between now and the first round. It's something they work on. They get them playing together more, and then they get them on the court and they see what they can do there. To me, you need to have your best five on the floor. And it brings me to another point that I want to talk again tonight. And we've kind of been talking about this a little bit here and there. And I'm to the point now where playing Josh Hart at certain situations is a detriment to the team. It does not give them the best chance to win. The coach has a very blind spot when it comes to Hart. And it's funny that you say that because his name really does fit the player. Like he is all heart. That's how he plays the game. Relentless, doesn't stop, has a motor that keeps going. But I think sometimes he believes a little bit too much. And to me, it manifests itself in more mistakes. Like I feel like he's been making more mistakes recently. I don't know if he's reached an apex of his talent and now we're just seeing the warts. But to me, I feel like you have to go with your best 5 players, and he's not one of them. He's just not. Their best 5 players, in my opinion, are the 2 bigs in Robinson and Towns. You have OG, Bridges, and then Brunson. Those are your best 5 players. That's the team I think that's going to get you where you need to go. And one of the reasons I don't like the Knicks' chances is because the coach trusts Hart way too much with the ball in key situations. Why are you running pick and rolls with a guy who can't shoot? There's just a lot of things that happen when he's on the court. And again, I know all the great things he brings. I'm not saying he doesn't have a place. I just think he needs to be reined in a bit.
I see your point, and I understand that there are facts supporting it, but I don't necessarily agree with it 100%. I really believe that there should be some kind of a rotation between the 3, and depending on how they're playing will dictate who goes out there. But on the other side, our coach isn't really known for making those determinations or those decisions too easily. Hart does have those moments, like you said, that just he can create magic at certain points. He can grab that rebound that you really need. He can get that steal that you really need. Yet, offensively, he is stunted. However, that drive to the basket at the end of the game off the assist from Brunson was a key play and a needed bucket, and it kept them in the game. He has a little bit of that magic. It really depends with the 3 of them. I don't know that there are any 2 that are clearly separated as the best people for any given fourth quarter. I don't know that you can say that necessarily. I think that sometimes Bridges fades a little bit and he's not the appropriate person for it. Or OG just doesn't have it. I think the answer should be a combination of those 2. I don't see it as being a situation where there are 5 clear-cut best players without question. I think it's still a situational thing with our wings. That's just my take.
Whether that's true or not, what's clear is that Hart is the most limited one of those 3.
Until he does something amazing.
No. What he brings is amazing stuff. Like he does bring that hustle and that determination. He all of the hustle things and the things we love about him. Yes, that's what he brings. But he's going to bring that regardless. That's just how he plays basketball. I'm looking more at, can I design a play for this guy? Can I put him into specific situations and say, okay, if the play breaks down, he can create a shot for himself. It's not his game. And
you have shot creators on the roster. You got plenty of them. You don't necessarily need 5 shot creators.
You need a shot creator on the floor when the game matters, when the game's in crunch time. He should not be handling the ball in crunch time. He just should not be getting the ball there.
Is it him not getting the ball or him not being on the floor?
Well, I mean, it's kind of both, because if you're going to put your best offensive players on the floor in those situations, I don't think he should be one of them. I trust McBride more to create a shot than I trust Josh Hart. I'm just being honest. I trust Landry Shamet more to create a shot than I trust Josh Hart.
Yeah.
And
I feel like his contributions are more consistent than either one of the wings, though.
Now, yes, that I will agree with, because his game is all based on effort and hustle and, So yeah,
Bridges can
from that.
fade sometimes and float around, and the same thing with OG. They're not always 100% there. It's the one beef I have with both of our wings. They're not necessarily consistent.
No, that's a fair point. There's definitely times, and we've talked about it numerous times, where um both of them kind of take a back seat or just kind of
Yeah.
don't rise to the occasion or rise to the moment. And I think we saw that a little last night. Like I didn't see the whole game, like I said, but I saw highlights and then I was looking at the box. I mean, Brunson's back now and he takes a certain number of shots. So OG didn't take the same number of shots he normally took when Brunson was out. There's something that we talked about. Was that going to change when he comes back? I wish Ty was here because Ty spoke about it specifically about what Brunson should be willing to defer now and see being away and being able to watch and see how they played should be more a willing passer.
He did throw some sweet times during that game, though.
No, I mean he can do it. We've seen him do it, but it's just not his. He's not
It's
that
not
type
his
of a
forte.
player.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree completely.
yeah. It's not what comes natural to him. Like
Yeah.
he's a scorer by natural. Like his nature is to score the ball, and he's super efficient. So I have no problem with him being that type player. But now that you've seen other guys be able to carry a little bit more of a load, he should be willing at least more to look for them and to understand that I don't need to do this all the time. And that's something I think could also be their undoing.
Yeah.
Him being him, which we love, but neglecting other parts of the team that have proven like, hey, I could play this game too. I can score the ball too. So I don't know, but again, we're heading into the playoffs now. You're at a point where you have to play your best players because this coach already does not play his bench. So that whatever we saw him play, that's even going to be less.
Yeah. Welcome to the 7-man rotation.
Yeah, like 7-man, maybe 8, and that's it. That's all I can see. Mitch is going to be one of those guys because they need size. He's one of the,
He's got to be.
Yeah, he's one of the guys. So that leaves 1 or 2 rotation spots open. I'm going to assume McBride's the other one.
It's going to be McBride and Mitch, basically.
Right?
But that's good because campaign will sit.
Well, that's true. That's true. That is good because yes, he's another guy who's really he's a very feast or famine player.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Like
no consistency there.
None. I mean, he's fun to watch. He's very animated and like he's fun to watch on the court.
He's like a Texas Hold'em hand that is crap, but you're just waiting for the rivet card and hoping that it's going to hit. You know what I mean? You're just hoping that flush is going to come through.
It's true. Like if he hits a 3 and hits another one, then you're like, all right, okay, yeah. we got something going tonight. We have a guy. We have Cam. Good Cam tonight. The problem is if he misses, he keeps shooting them, and so I don't know. But yeah, that's another guy because he was pretty much part of the rotation. Shamit's become part of the rotation.
Yeah. Shamit's contributed.
Yeah. So like these are guys now who we know with this coach are probably not going to play much unless he's forced to play them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be interesting to see the rotation. But like we both said, I'm pretty sure 100% Mitch is definite. And I'd be like 85% sure, 85, 90% McBride's the other one. Just because of what he did last year in the playoffs. Like he was great last year in the playoffs. So those two are good.
Speaking in hypotheticals, that may play to our advantage. Because teams do narrow their bench and rotation in the playoffs. And our narrow rotation is our strength. It takes away from teams like Cleveland who depend on their vast depth and resting their starters and everything like that. If you're going to start asking those players, if Kenny Atkinson shrinks his bench down to 7-8 players, I just feel like we live in that world, whereas it's a bigger adjustment for those teams.
If I was those coaches who play there long, I would not change a thing with what I'm doing.
I know.
I would
Well, it
play the
tends to
way that
happen.
I know you're right. It does. In the playoffs, the bench does get shorter. You tend to go with the players who
But
have been there, who you trust.
yeah, I agree. Cleveland shouldn't change the damn thing.
No, no, they shouldn't change anything. Boston's not going to. I mean, those two teams are still the cream of the crop
Yeah,
in the conference.
yeah, and you know what? We
And
did play them well. We played them pretty damn well last night. I think that was our best outing against an elite team all year. I would have to say, I mean, end to end, it wasn't like we went on a crazy run. I mean, we fought the whole way. It was a pretty close game the whole way through.
one of the Cleveland games I remember was tight. And then obviously the OKC game, the first one where the Knicks had the lead.
Yeah.
I mean, those were probably the three best performances.
But this was against the defending champs.
Right. And our rival, like everything that goes along with New York and Boston, all that stuff is thrown into this powder keg whenever we play them. So yeah,
Yeah, New York, Boston is forever.
that's for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, again, I don't want to dump on Josh Hart. I don't hate him. I think he's got a very, very good role on this team. He's important, yes.
I get what you're saying, and I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm definitely not saying you're wrong. Different perspectives, I think, but part of mine may be wishful thinking. But again, that would take for what I'm talking about to actually work would probably take a different coach. Someone who could look at him and go, got it tonight. Sit down.
That's what I mean. That's the part that I know is not going to happen.
Yeah,
that is, yeah.
But ideally, you have three really good wing options. I mean, they're not elite. They may individually do things elite, but you're not talking elite wings in the league. They're very, very good wings. Ideally, you have three of those. So there's a lot of situational movement you can do with lineups and stuff, but Tibbs, for all of the good things that he's done for our franchise, he is not really good at managing personnel situationally in games. It's just not a skill set he has, in my opinion.
You're right. You're 100% correct. He does not he really doesn't manage personalities well. He doesn't manage the roster well, I don't think. He can build a culture, which he has done here. I'll give him that.
Yeah. No, what he's done is commendable, considering the tire fire that we were before he came here.
Yes.
I'll always be grateful to it. I'll be grateful to Julius too, honestly.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, I don't think there's anybody. And if you remember all those years that we've been talking online, I called for Tibbs many times to be the coach of this team. But all good things come to an end. Are we going to talk about the elephant in the room of what happened this week? Also?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's kind of it's on my list. So we're going to get to it. We're going to get to it in a minute. I do want to bring up one more thing though, because I just read about this a little while ago. I haven't looked at here all Knicked Up for real, and I kept the K on the Knicks because I was just reading about tomorrow night. Now, tomorrow night the Knicks play the Pistons. The game's important actually because they still have not clinched the number 3 seed. The Knicks still have to win one more game, or Indiana lose one more game. But word came out just a little while ago that both Josh Hart with his knee and OG Anunoby now with his thumb, they will not be playing tomorrow, and neither will Mitch Robinson because of his recovery.
Do we even want the 3 seed?
Well, we had this discussion. I don't like any of the matchups. So to me, it doesn't matter. It does not matter. 3 or 4.
I'd rather play Milwaukee than Detroit.
I honestly think in either matchup, I hate to say it, but I don't think they're going to win. So I'm not that sad that I won't be here for
shocked
that.
if you lost in the first round. I'd be shocked.
Not me. Not with the matchups, and
I know you haven't
not
been
me.
feeling that. You've been feeling that for quite some time, too.
Yep. I am not feeling good about the playoffs this year. That's why I said I'm not totally bummed I'm gonna miss the first few games because I'll be in Japan. And normally I would be like, I need to watch, I need to know, and I'll be following it obviously when I can, but yeah, I am not bullish on their chances. So we'll see. But I did kind of want to talk about this because I have the Pistons game pulled up here as a playoff preview. So you kind of led us there. Um, I just said what my feelings are. What are your feelings about this potential first round matchup? You said just now you don't want any part of them. So why is my question?
It's my gut because you're looking at two different things. You're looking at playoff experience with a team that's, frankly, I'm sorry, kind of over the hill, I believe, against a team that is young, up and coming, and brimming with talent. It has also had a couple of key veteran placements in that roster that has really helped them. Like adding Tim Hardaway Jr., believe it or not, helped them out a great deal. Just things like that. Like I could see Detroit laying the stick on us, to be honest with you, but they don't have the playoff experience, and you hope that you can lean on that. And it's one or the other. You know, again, you have the really experienced team that I think is a little bit over the hill, or the young Bucks that have a lot of talent, could run us probably out of the building, but don't have the experience. I'm kind of feeling like I'd rather play Milwaukee in the first round, to be honest with you. And it doesn't matter from a playoff seeding because we're going to play the second. If we get to the second, we're going to be playing the second on the road anyway. That's just a fact. There's nobody lower seeding that we're going to be playing in the second round. I don't think anybody's going to knock any of the big boys out. My opinion. So I don't know. I kind of feel like losing a 3 seed might not be the best thing in the world. Maybe you sit down and you start resting some guys. You've got a couple of guys with bum knees. You got a couple of guys that are a little dinged up. We're more or less healthy. Why don't you give them a rest? You've been working them hard all year. Let us roll into the playoffs with some kind of semblance of, all right, we're ready to run it up and down the floor for 48 minutes. That's just my take.
They need, but for all the reasons we said before, they need to. This team needs to play together a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So that kind of, I hear what you're saying, but yeah, there's the other way to look at it too, like them playing and not resting guys and trying to go into the playoffs on a high note for this team might be more important. As you guys see, someone snuck in through the back door.
I'm getting
I gotta finish one thought on this. Is 3 games of playing together more important than 3 games of rest for the people that are dinged up?
I don't know.
I would say 3 games of rest might be more important, and the value of playing 3 more games together might not be. I guess it's how you look at it. What's up, Ty?
What's going on, Big Joe? Big Cuff? What up, E? How you?
What's up? All right. Doing okay. Yeah, we're just breaking down tomorrow the Pistons game, which actually means something. Still means something for the Knicks because they have to, if they want the 3 seed, they have to win one more game.
Mm-hmm.
So we just started breaking it down as a possible playoff preview if they do wind up playing the Pistons in round 1, which if they win the 3 seed, it looks likely at this moment that that's who they will be playing.
Mm-hmm.
We're just kind of going through what we thought. Joe does not want to play them. He'd rather play Milwaukee. I want no part of Giannis ever. If I can avoid that guy at all costs, I would do that. Where do you fall on this one?
I think the Pistons are a good barometer. I think that they need to face the Pistons. And the reason I'm saying that is, it's a tough It's a tough battle that they're looking forward to. Pistons are no joke. They are the nemesis of what the Knicks usually have an issue with, which is young players that are very tenacious, three-point shooting teams, teams that just get at it like dogs. The Knicks struggle with this. And according to what we saw last night, I think that would be a good setup for if you have to play Boston. Because what we saw last night from Boston and the Knicks, I mean, it was like my new name today is Guy Pearce, and he was the actor in Memento. You guys know that movie, Memento?
I love that movie.
Which is a great movie. Anybody don't know nothing about that movie, go check it out. A little frustrating to watch, but you kind of
Nolan.
Needless to say, just a little synopsis why I brought that guy's name into play. He plays a guy named Leonard in the movie Memento, and the Knicks are kind of indicative of those things. It's like, this guy, he went around, he's trying to search for some answers about what happened to his wife. She was murdered, and the little hitch in the whole movie is, he builds up all this, this information, and he's getting close, and he suffers from memory loss. He can forget what happens 15 minutes afterwards. Well, that's where the Knicks are right now. Like, when you look at the Knicks in totality, they get you all built up. You're like, oh man, look at the potential. They're running teams out. Your OG's dunking and looking at the cute little Asian woman in the stands from over there that he was motivated by. And I'm not mad at him. We see Bridges, doing this, hitting shots in Portland, and we're like, man, maybe we're right. Then all of a sudden, all that good wealth that's built up disappears. And all of a sudden, it's forgotten. Memory loss on how they got there and achieved some of those things have just completely went by the wayside. So that's what we're dealing with when we watch the Knicks. The game last night, albeit competitive, albeit the Knicks did have opportunity to win the game. We can poo-poo over all the little things. It is really about the fact that this team sometimes doesn't look like they're ready. It looks like they have the talent, but they're not ready to actually compete night in and night out with consistency. If they plan on beating the Detroit Pistons, they have to show all of that. They have to show the consistency. They got to show the tenacity. They got to form a unit and play tough every single night. You're not beating Boston without doing that. So you better start off in the first round starting to do it with a team that probably is going to headhunt you. They also have a winning record against the Knicks. I think they're 2-1 against the Knicks. This being the fourth meeting, the Knicks have something to prove in this matchup. So I'd rather them play Detroit, get this out of the way on whether or not we are a good team or we're terrible. Because no matter what, I know people say, oh, second round failure, it won't be too bad losing to Boston. Yes, it is. This is a season where you went all in. And if you can't this was to get out of the second round. These moves, for anybody who wants to talk about it, let's keep it real. The last two seasons were second round exits. Yeah. These moves were to get us out of the second round. If we stay stuck getting bounced in the first round and the second round, in my opinion, the way the Knicks played last night should have been every game against Boston. It should have never not been competitive. So we're looking at a team last night. He had a chance to win. We can go to Tom Thibodeau, say maybe foul Jason Tatum. Don't let him get a three because he's been lit all night. Or maybe you guard Porzingis, who kills us every time in a Boston uniform from long-range threes. You have Mitchell Robinson there. Why was he not in the game? Why did you not put Mitch to body Porzingis to say, hey, look, you know what? We saw what happened with Curry the other night. They Velcroed the hell out of him. Why would you not Velcro KP and say, hey, if somebody's going to beat us, it's going to be Drew Holiday, or it's going to be one of these bench dudes, or Derek White, but we're not letting you guys get off. So needless to say, they don't have time to think with Detroit. Detroit's some bad boys, and not pun intended. That's a tenacious team. Cade Cunningham is rising to the occasion. He's becoming a bona fide star. He's coming into his own. And you got Malik Beasley, who's just lit. He hates Villanova. but at least the ones that he didn't go to school with, because clearly he comes in and he's like, pew, pew, pew. That's his full loaded armor. I mean, he's just fully loaded, unlimited weapons when he comes into the Garden. And, Toby's coming back probably to, Madison Square. He's from Long Island. He's gotten resurrected in Detroit. You got Timmy over there, although I'm not worried about Timmy too much. But
he's been a good addition for them.
But he is. You got to look at these guys. These are a bunch of underdogs when you think about it. The Knicks of last year are the Detroit of this year. When their teams, people doubted them, saying they're not as good. And these guys have had some chips on their shoulder to go prove that they are better than what was advertised. So when you look at the Knicks, this is the best litmus test for the Knicks. You either are damn good or you get the hell out of the damn playoffs. And they need a wake-up call, because if they get bounced in the first round, there has to be changes. How can you
that's a question. That's an important question. Let's assume they don't make it to the conference finals. Is it better they get bounced in the first round or the second round?
First. I don't even have to hesitate. Mm-hmm. First. If they go to the second round and lose to Boston, I don't know what changes they'll make. Like, they could say, oh, especially if they lose in like 6. They lose in 6 or whatever, they're like, oh, we'll run it back again next year.
It was the champs. You lost to the champs.
Yes. If you lose in the first round, though, to the team, the Pistons, like Ty's explaining, a young team who doesn't know what they don't know yet, who, they have added some veterans like Schroeder. We brought up, Dennis Schroeder's on the team now. They have guys who have been in playoff games before, won playoff series. But still their stars are very young. They're not ready, possibly, but if they were to come in and beat the Knicks, a team that, as Ty just pointed out as well, was essentially built to beat the Celtics. I mean, you bring in OG, you bring in Bridges to combat Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum. I mean,
I think Milwaukee would look worse, personally.
It doesn't matter if they lose in the first round. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think the first round, they get bounced in the first round. I don't know how you drag Penguin back to his lair and tell him to go run Gotham again, because if they get bounced, and it's usually going to be much like we saw last night. I know Eric E didn't see the game, but let me tell you one thing: everything that's true about a Tom Thibodeau team and the jinxes and the issues that we all have lamented in this show every single time we bring up an anti-Tib campaign up in here, because we want to see some glimpse or semblance of different things he's attempting to do. But we go back to last night's game. Overusing Josh, having him take shots that they would have better off getting me off the couch after eating a couple cookies and me take that damn shot, because I probably would have freaking made it. We know Josh wasn't going to make that damn shot. It just wasn't going to happen. So what do we get? A heave from Josh. The dude logged in 48 minutes. 48. You know who else logged in 48 minutes? Jason Tatum. Jason Tatum, the star, logged in. Josh Hart is not the star of the Knicks. And this dude is logging in like he is and don't get me wrong, this is no disrespect to Josh. It's not his own fault. It's the damn coach's fault. Let's just put it where it is. The damn coach of the New York Knicks has yet to figure out how to stop a three-point shot, how to foul timely when you're already ahead. What is the pride in playing man-to-man defense against a superstar who was lighting you up all night? These guys, when they get revved up, there's no one defending these guys. I know we got guys that can defend, but when a Jason Tatum is locked in like he was last night, you are not stopping him. You might stop him if you go get a bat and hit him in the leg. You might stop him then, and he still might hit a three-point shot because he hit up the one.
Tanya Harding, baby. No, go ahead.
Yeah, you got to Tanya him. Even if you Tanya him, he's probably going Kobe and throwing up a three, and you're like going home sleeping and crying in your pillow. It's like, come on, man. Like, but go ahead.
No, I just want to say something. We actually discussed Josh Hart a little while ago. We did a whole little thing, and Ty and I did not talk about the show. We didn't talk about what we're going to discuss, but you're saying a lot of what I was saying. It's very similar to what I was saying about him.
It's maddening. It is
yes,
maddening.
it is.
And it sounds like we're crapping on Josh. I love Josh Hart. I love
too.
He's everything that you want out of a Knick. It's not about him. It's his manager. It's the guy who is managing him that is using him in these positions. I have this big thing I always talk about. Put people in positions where they can prosper. That to me is a huge thing when you talk about managing human beings. When you can put someone in a place where they prosper, where it's great prosperity, the failure rate is very little because this is the lane you're supposed to be in. That's not saying you're limited. That might mean that your specialty may be one specific thing and you might be excellent at it. That doesn't make you less than. Josh Hart is an excellent person coming off the bench and doing all the dirty work.
Energy player, yes.
And you've never seen him make an impact in the fourth quarter that turned the tide of the game.
Yeah. And you, what do you run? What are you running at the end of a Tom Thibodeau offense? And I'm blaming Jalen Brunson to this. I mean, if I was on early, I would have brought him up too. You are running, and I love Jalen. Jalen, you the quarterback, dog. You are running pick and roll with a guy you know won't shoot.
Yeah, that's silly. I can't defend that.
Oh,
I can't
my God. I'm last night, talk about popping blood pressure pills. I probably would have popped something stronger if I could have found something to pop on the corner of someone's street to obtain. Because why are we watching a guy like Karl Anthony Towns, who happens to be maybe the best scoring big man you'll probably ever see in your lifetime because of what he can do on the floor. And you got Jalen Brunson, a killer. We know what he does. He's going to win probably clutch man of the year. And your idea of running an end of the game play is to say, nah, ain't nobody worrying about a bodega in New York. Let's go to this dude from Delaware. What was he from Maryland? Wherever the hell he's from. We're going to open a bodega in Maryland and try to open it in New York, and it freaking failed.
So is that on Tibbs or is that on the players? Because we have said many times on this show that he does not dictate the offense that the players do.
That's why.
So where does that fall?
It's both. It's both Brunson and him. That's why I gave Brunson. That's why I got on Brunson. Brunson's a very high.
Basically admitted that he doesn't run the offense. He lets the players do whatever they want to do. So
it's his fault because he should be running some damn offense. That's the problem with him. He's not running a damn thing other than his mouth.
You cannot. Yeah. I mean, you could not have a philosophy, but you can tell your players, look, I want Karl and Jalen to handle this at the end of the games. Like, that's why they're here. We want them to be handling the ball, taking the shots, the bulk of them, unless they're doubled and they find you, be ready to shoot the ball. But it is both, as you guys, as Ty was kind of saying, it is both. It's on the coach for not building a structure from the beginning.
Yeah,
like that's you can look at
your
him.
Philosophy is the game will tell you where to go.
Oh God, please! I am literally. I want to get T-shirts made up of that. I do. I want to get T-shirts made up of that, and I don't know what I'll put on the front yet. I'll even talk to Tom and be like, "Hey, we could start a little business, you and me. The game will tell you what you need to do, or whatever it is." Because that to me is the most asinine statement a head coach has ever made. Like I said, if that's your philosophy, what do we need you for?
Why are you here?
Why do I need you?
Why are you here? You're important.
Yeah, these are all professional basketball players. If the game is going to tell them where they need to go, they've been playing this game their entire life. What do I need you for? I don't need you.
And
That's a fair question.
And 3 of the guys have won titles in college, so they've been coached up enough. The guy, the star on the Knicks, his father played in the league, so he's got a lot of downloaded information that he can take as a natural talent himself and say, "This is what we." There's a lot of guys that could be Bill Russell, player coach, if you want to go that route. But dude, your job is to tell them where to go and what to do, not for them to figure it out on their own, because you can tell they're winging it because of the plays that you see executed in the end. And I might be including the defense, because you're watching the coverage And everyone and their mama with a lollipop knows that the Knicks' weakness is a damn three-point shot.
Yeah.
Everybody in the league knows this.
It's been that way since the dawn of time. It's not even a Tibbs thing.
It's not. That's the funny thing.
Oh yeah, no, it's just been New York. Period. I don't understand. Like New York's like, oh,
every coach. It doesn't matter who the coach is. They can't defend the three.
They always give the big, and it's always in opportune moments. It's in those big, like KP last night. I'm like, y'all know it's going to this dude. Why are you?
That's the other thing we talked
He hit a
about.
logo three. You don't think you might want to go grab him? He hit a logo three last night. Ridiculous shot.
How does Jason Tatum get that shot?
Jason Tatum.
How is he? He is the best player on the team. He's an MVP candidate, and he's the guy who's open.
You deny him, and this is a pride thing. This is foolish pride. I think was a shot. I think that's something foolish pride. This is foolish pride because what it was is that this coach does not want to concede, and the players maybe they have the same thing. He does not want to concede that they need help, and he's like, "Oh, OG's going to guard him." Look, I know Google was a bad dude. He is one of the best defenders in the modern game. We all know this. But offensive, talented guys like Jason Tatum, like the Michael Jordans, even like a Jalen Brunson, these guys are going to get that shot off, and they're going to probably make it in your face when it's clutch time. That's why it's called a clutch gene. This dude is clutch. Jalen Brunson is clutch. These dudes are clutch players. Do you think Ogugawa is going to do enough other than straitjacket him to stop him from getting the shot off? You're a friggin' idiot. If you think man-to-man coverage is how you go about handling a guy who's ISO heavy and extremely talented, with anything, you face guard him, and if you got to grab him, you grab him and make him shoot two at the free throw line, which he missed some free throws last night. You send his arse to the line and say, you're going to beat me? Two can't beat me. Only three can tie me. I don't know. Time and what is – when you guys think about how much basketball you've watched, you've all watched the game. I know I've watched a ton of basketball. Who doesn't know time and place, what you're supposed to be doing in certain moments? You guard the guy. If you're going to physically guard him, you don't let him get loose. And if he is going to get loose, you foul him because only a three can tie you. What in the hell are the Knicks doing? Talking about, oh, no, I'm going to guard him. I'm going to show what I –
You even had Mitch on the bench like, no threes, like hands up, pillow, no threes.
Why not run a defense? Well, see, this is why I know he's not doing defense. He's not even doing defense or offense. The game tells you what to do. The game would have told his ass to run people off the three-point line because that's what the game would have told his ass from the bench when he gets it says, you see this line right here, and get you the hell off that line. Because that's the only thing that was supposed to happen last night. Run them off the line. You don't let them break free. You baby glue yourself to them. Are you serious?
Well, this leads me to this because it all ties together with where we're going.
Oh yeah.
So Mike Malone, who is very much a very similar coach in a lot of ways to Tom Thibodeau. He doesn't play like he's tough on the rookies, shortens benches, plays veterans over them. New York guy. Yeah. He's a New Yorker, was born in Astoria, Queens. He got fired. Now, the one difference he has over Thibodeau is he actually won an NBA title. So he has a little bit of cachet.
Yes, he does.
Now, he does have the greatest player on the planet right now on his team.
He's definitely the best.
Yes. So, and he did for that, the year they won, had a very, 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 very good Jamal Murray.
Yes.
That team was a very good basketball team. When Jamal Murray is healthy and right, he's one of the better guards in the league. So they had talent. He didn't just win on his own. But between him getting fired and Taylor Jenkins getting fired, someone needs to explain to me, because people saying, you can't fire Thibodeau. He just won 2 back-to-back 50 games in a row. This team is like, the Knicks haven't done that in 30 years. But the Nuggets can fire a guy who just won a title 2 years ago? That's okay. You're not gonna that is normal, but us possibly suggesting that we want to get rid of a coach who clearly has a ceiling. We are seeing it. He has a ceiling, but that draws venom from people. Like, how could you say that? He's been so successful. All correct. He's been great here. He was probably the right coach when they hired him. Probably the right coach for the job. They needed someone like him, but that's it. It's over, people. I don't care what they're not winning a title this year. Unless something magically changes, they're not winning a title. So don't sit there and tell me that we cannot get rid of Tom Thibodeau, and then you just had two coaches get fired, both winning on winning teams. Both coaches were winning games, and one of them won an NBA title 2 years ago. So that's sorry, Mike Malone. I think he's a fantastic coach who probably, if he wants to coach, he will end up somewhere. I don't think he'd be right here. But if the Knicks do decide to move on, it does give them options. He is an option.
Oh, big time.
Say that. He's a New Yorker. That's one of the things that they might like about him if they do decide to go in another direction. But first of all, I gave my little rant. What did you guys think when you heard the news? That's my first question. Joe, what did you think when you heard the news?
I was shocked. I've never seen a coach that won a championship that recently get fired, but it's also when he got fired.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks before the playoffs, and fired the GM too. Like it like that place just went DEFCON 1 in like right before the playoffs. Like I don't understand. I'm sure there's a hell of a story behind this. There's got to be. I know that there was some kind of a Cold War going on between him and Calvin Booth. They didn't see eye to eye. But it's almost like, being a parent and two of your kids are fighting and you just like put them in the orphanage. Like I don't understand like thinking behind it, right before, like the day before school's supposed to start. Like it was just really shocking to me. I'd love to know really what happened. Because again, there wasn't a side that was chosen. They just said, both of you step into my office. Why? Because you're fired. I mean, that's got to be jarring to the best player in the world who's only played for that coach, I think.
Yeah.
He's only played for him. And Calvin Booth was not there the whole time, but he did make a lot of moves that were beneficial towards that title run. Now, granted, they maybe made some decisions that weren't popular. They, let some veterans go that helped him get there, and they focused more on some of the younger players, and it really hasn't panned out quite as much. I know that their first-round draft pick didn't pan out, but that was an injury. So, it was pretty shocking to me, man. I didn't see that coming at all.
Yeah. Ty, what about you? When you heard the news, what did you think?
Well, initially, obviously, the shock, it was shocking. The timing was shocking. But then when I started peeling it back, recalling back when they won the title, Mike Malone was, he's always very vocal. He's unapologetic who he is. Who's your daddy and all the other stuff he said. But one of the things he spoke out strongly was that he wanted those guys back, the KCPs and the Bruce Brown, yeah. Bruce Brown, wanted to keep the team intact. And that was one of the thoughts. He made it let the ownership know that was one of the things that he wanted. He said, these guys are coming back. Well, as we know how that ended, lo and behold, turn around, the owner's like, the hell with that. I'm not cutting an extra check. They can bounce. And when I saw that part, I can understand maybe where the disconnect was starting to happen between coach and front office. Then you bring in an answer to that is bring in Russie, which I always think is just one of the most hilarious moves. And I love Russell Westbrook. It's not about knocking Russie as far as the tenacity he plays with. He plays with a vicious streak, and I love that about him. But in the same sense, if you got a guy like Jokic, we all have said that he's the best player in the NBA. I don't think it's even close. I know, shout out to Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, but I don't think it's even close still. You build something around that guy special. And Jamal Murray has battled injuries. He's top notch when he's healthy, but he's just never been as healthy as we'd like him to be. You would think that they would make a move. You have Michael Porter Jr., which you paid a lot of money to. Aaron Gordon, he's locked in. And these are nice pieces, don't get me wrong, but they needed another player to be as consistent as Jamal Murray possibly could be. And when you are, as a GM, tell me, I want consistency, and you go, give me Russell Westbrook. You should be fired the minute that comes out of your damn mouth. Yeah, you need to go. Because who the hell would pick Russie as the answer to the he's not a skeleton key, NBA skeleton key. He just could fit in, start unlocking doors for you to win. This dude cost Jokic a game the other night, which is, you wouldn't even think it was possible when you realize once we go time and place of the game. They were up by 1. They were up. Only Russie had to do was hold the ball. Oh no, Russie doesn't want to do that. Russie goes in for a layup. And it ricochets, and he blows it, which, are you shocked he blew the layup? Nobody's shocked about that. He blows the layup on the last play, and they come back and lose the game. Jokic had a 60-point triple-double. What GM would have ever signed off on that? He needed to be fired the minute that happened. Yeah, ownership takes some kind of credit for dismantling the team and being cheap. When you got a player like Jokic, and you're able to get titles, and you're Denver, a small market, mid-market team, I guess you would want to call it, you do whatever you have to do to keep that team together if it makes him happy and he can keep winning. And you have a coach that they were all trusting at that point. I was shocked about the timing, not shocked that it happened. Shame on Denver, because everybody is a Knicks fan. No, we would love to have a title. Who wouldn't love to have a title in New York? I mean, we would kill for a title. The fact that you have a title team, and Mark Cuban did the same thing with Dallas, we would kill to have one of those teams, just one. And when you have an opportunity to build around and you got the best player in the NBA, you cut everything you can do to make sure that player is always in a mood, in a mode of success. And I'm going to sure Mike Malone probably grew a little bit tired. There was also a rumor or talk that he played Russie too much. I mean, going back to Russie again, he played Russie too much, and Calvin Booth wanted one of the rookies to be played more. So here's another issue. This is kind of Tom Thibodeau-ish when you think about it. The stubbornness of saying, I'm going with these vets no matter what. I'm going to play campaign 50 minutes. I don't care if you don't score no points. The same thing applies to Russie. Although I take Payne over Russie, which is kind of scary, people.
At this stage, yeah.
I would take Payne over Russie. But, it's just shocking the timing. We saw the same thing with Sacramento with Mike Brown. We've seen the same thing with Taylor Jenkins getting fired weeks before the Grizzlies are still in the playoffs. And obviously we know about the Luka trade. There just seems to be, I don't know if it's the aprons or cost cutting or being, frugal, but the aprons in the NBA have ruined the current state of basketball in a lot of ways, because now you're seeing coaches just get let go, very talented coaches that have no security whatsoever. And you're saying, we'll just let them go and we don't care about the result afterwards. These teams look like they're tanking or they don't care about winning anymore. So that was, to me, the flag that's being waved when Taylor Jenkins, who I think is an excellent coach, excellent old school kind of coach also, much like Mike Malone, you're letting these guys go and they're successful. I'm like, Eric, you mean tell me you can't let Tom Thibodeau go? He hasn't won nothing. What the hell has he done?
Yeah,
he's helped the Knicks become a foundation because of how tough he is. But you started a culture, we'll give you that much. But does anyone trust him to win? I don't. I don't trust him to win the title. I trust him to win a lot of regular season games. So when they're telling me this guy can't be let go, what the hell wrong with everybody? You want a ring? Or you want to watch a guy just sit there and feel bad for him because he's like, oh, look what he did for us. Well, what did Janet Jackson say? What have you done for me lately, right? We get out of the second. We go to the second round again and get bounced or the first.
It is really easy to say get rid of the coach, but who replaces him? Who is available that can win a chip with us? Can Mike Malone win a chip with us?
What's his name?
Or was that a product of Jokic?
Taylor Jenkins? No.
Tends to, when you look at Taylor.
It's a fair question.
There's got to be a better option out there for them to pull that trigger, especially with how many years he's owed and everything like that. I am not opposed to the idea. Do not get me wrong. I agree completely that it is time to move on from him, and we have hit what Eric expressed earlier as the Thibodeau ceiling. That's where we're at right now. That's the team we are. But again, who is going to bring us to? Who is going to get us a ring?
Who
that is available?
Yeah, I mean it's similar to. I mean, we saw it happen in Golden State with Mark Jackson and Steve Kerr. Obviously, there were other stuff going on with the Mark Jackson situation that I think they didn't want any part of anymore. But they went from one type of coach to another type of coach, right? Like Jackson was a certain way. They removed him, and Kerr was kind of the opposite, and that got them over the hump. So I would think you would want someone who isn't as much like Tom Thibodeau. So I don't think Mike Malone would be a good choice. That's why I said before, I don't think, even though he's available now, I don't think he'd be the right guy. Jenkins, maybe. I mean,
I like Jenkins.
He might be the type that could come in here. Like I said, they had the coach. If they would have just hired Atkinson when they hired Thibodeau, that would have been, for me, that would have been perfect. But they didn't do that. You call Jay Wright. We talked about in the past. I definitely would call Jay Wright and be like, hey, do you want to give this a shot? We have basically the cogs of your title team are here. So one of your title teams is Villanova. You know, you're from the area, the Northeast guy. You coached at Hofstra. I mean, he's been in this area for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
If he wants the job, I'd definitely give him a call and see if he would come. There are other college, like everyone brings up Rick Pitino. I don't think at his age he would want to come do this now, especially with, you know, with the difference now it is coaching in the NBA, even from when he did it the first time. Like the players are much different now than they were back then. And in college, you still have kind of that fatherly influence where you can kind of do certain things and the players will back away. You don't have that in the NBA anymore. So he's a guy people bring up a lot.
If he wanted to come back to the pros, he would have come back to the pros. I'm sure he would have had opportunities. There's a reason he went to college.
Well, I mean, he's coaching in New York now.
Yeah.
And right now he's the king of the whole city because he resurrected St. John's.
Yeah.
So like, why would you want to leave that? There's no reason for him to leave. Not at this moment.
That's why getting paid a lot more for less headaches.
Yeah.
You got to look at it from that perspective.
So,
I mean, I'm a Sam Cassell person. I always say if you're going to give somebody,
that's a good choice.
You know,
I didn't hate that.
He's been one of those guys that's been talked about in circles about being the next dude up. That's an assistant. I think he's assistant with Boston. Am I correct? Is it with Boston or is it with? Is he Boston's assistant or is he LA's assistant? Sam Cassell. I think he might be
the Clippers.
If he's with Boston, that makes it even more of a reason.
You're right. Boston. Yep.
He's with Boston, right? That's a guy I would look. I look at the dynamic. You always want to, when you have a point guard that's not a mercurial point guard, that's not like overly talented, but they are able to see the game, much like Brunson. Sam Cassell was a very slow-paced guy, big shot taker, big shot maker. You know, he was all those 2 S's, 2 L's, as they call it. You know, that dude was a killer on the floor. You know, when given the opportunity, open shots, he was going to knock him down. He played with Dream. I always was a little bit fascinated with the idea of him being able to maybe maximize Karl-Anthony Towns and Jalen Brunson as a tandem. That's one of the reasons I'm a little bit curious about how Sam would play those two dynamic forces together. You know, because he's had the experience, like I said, with Akeem playing in the pivot, playing in a low post. You know, Akeem was one of the most talented players I've ever seen, period. It's not even close. Definitely one of the greatest two-way, might be the greatest two-way player I've ever seen when thinking about it. Could he get that out of Towns? Not the two-way part, but maybe how to maximize the offensive game that doesn't so relying on the three-point shot all the time, and get Jalen to feed into feeding Towns. I think it's very important to establish Towns and then work out. The game should be inside out with Towns. I don't care what nobody wants to say about, oh, he can shoot the three. He's like Curry, big 7-foot Curry. I don't want no 7-foot bottle of Curry. I want him to put his butt right down on that block and be a passer out of the double team. Now you got snipers, man. I don't understand why this game is completely. You got a 7-foot guy who's just on the perimeter most of the time. And I just think Cassell, to me, might be one, and he's got a pedigree. He's got 3 rings. It's not like he doesn't know how to win. The dude knows how the hell to win basketball games. So, but if you're going big, Jenkins, I take Jenkins over him alone because Jenkins does get a lot out of the talent on the bench. He survives when Ja Moran is going down, Triple J is going down. His teams have played very well without their stars. So that would be the guy. If I had to think about it, I would maybe go Taylor Jenkins over Mike Malone.
I'd like to question that philosophy
a
little bit. If you're playing him off the block, how does that affect Brunson? Because right now what's happening is when you're pulling Towns out to the 3-point line, he's bringing the center with him and giving Brunson a lot of room to work. Like, how does that cause – I mean, it sounds good in theory, and I love a low-post center, but does that have, like, externalities that kind of affect other players?
Well, it will have an effect, but the hell with Brunson. And why I'm saying therefore when I tell you this, and I love Jalen, but when we got Towns, I don't know if you remember what I did. I said you can go get Brunson's axe. He's the guy. He's going to be out there. He's going to be chopping the tree. He's going to knock down the trees. He's going to put a lot of sweat equity. He's a killer. He's going to take his axe and he's going to knock and chop down everything. But what if you got a brush hog? What if you got a guy that can come in and just mow all the damn trees off, and then you go home and you get a snack because you didn't take all day to do it? Brunson is an all-day worker, whereas Towns is so talented, he can annihilate you without breaking a sweat. My biggest thing is that Brunson gets it out in mud. It comes very easy to call Anthony Towns to get 35, 40 points. We've seen him get 35 and 40 points, and it looked like he never played. So imagine you can max that talent out and Brunson deferring, because I think in a realistic world, as great as Brunson is, he needs to defer way more. He needs to defer to the talent around him. If you want to win, then you should be using the guy who can pass, because Brunson don't pass. He can get 10 assists, but we're talking about passers. Passers out of double teams and finding the open man. I don't trust Brunson to do that all the time. I trust him to get somebody some shots. But we're talking about when the team collapsed, you force a defense to have to collapse on you. Now you open up all those targets. Brunson's a capable 3-point shooter. So is OG Anunoby. So is Mikal Bridges. Who can't shoot is Josh. They need to move his ass to the bench. But if you had those guys out there and you can spread the floor, now you're telling Karl-Anthony Towns he can go one-on-one. I would want Karl-Anthony Towns going one-on-one versus Brunson any day. And that's not knocking Jalen. I'm just saying, you watch Jalen operate, it's work. He takes a long time to rev up, to get into his, he's got to work the shot. The ball's got to stick a little bit to get his game off. Karl-Anthony Towns is just throwing up threes and smiling the whole damn time he's down the floor. He can score. He's a scoring savant. It's different to me. I would defer those shots that Jalen wants to take. He can always take the clutch shot. He can always take the isolation clutch shot. But I would prefer Jalen Brunson to actually average about 18 to 19 points a game with 10 assists or 12 assists and work on your damn steals. I prefer that over worrying about whether Towns is getting his shots. I don't think
he's never going to be a 12-assist player. That's
no, I don't think so. I don't think he's a scorer. I don't think he's wired to be an ISO. He's mellow. He's a short mellow. That's all he is. He's a short version of Carmelo Anthony. That's what he is. He's a hell of an isolation player. But I just think that
funneling your offense to a single player is dangerous. Surrounding your entire offense around a single player is dangerous.
Yeah. I think it has to be more of the offense. I think you have to enable Jalen to be Jalen as well. Like that, you have to enable that. But I do think there are many more opportunities where we can see Towns on the block operating or hitting cutters or something where he's down there and not, I'm in the fourth quarter and it's under 2 minutes and he's standing on the wing waiting for a kick out. This guy's 7 feet tall. I mean, he's a good shooter, don't get me wrong, but a lot of times he's also the tallest guy we have on the floor at that moment. So you're taking him away from the basket from any kind of offensive rebound opportunity as well if you have him on the perimeter. Now, yes, Brunson is more of to your point, Joe, and to what Ty was saying about Melo, he is more of an inside type of small guard. Like he does most of his work inside the arc. He can shoot threes, yes, and he's hit big ones, but he's really a inside the arc, for lack of a better term, post up style of point guard who's going to do his work in that area. Footwork, phenomenal footwork, stuff he worked on. And he worked on that because he knew he wasn't the fastest. He knew he wasn't the quickest. He knew he didn't have the best handle. So he worked on a way to make himself unique and carve out a game for him in the NBA. And he's become great.
He's great.
But I think to Ty's point, you need to have Towns be more, you need to have him more down in the traditional center spot on offense where he can operate down there and take advantage of the mismatches that he has, whether it's height or quickness.
I see the point, and I get where you're talking about a lot, Ty. I guess what I'm seeing right now is when he's on the perimeter and Jalen's working inside, they're both able to be highly effective as far as scorers. However, I do agree that there has to be more variability in the offense.
Yeah.
But I think just rolling him down and making him being a post-up player is not the solution either. I think there has to be more variability in the offense. I think that, yes, you can roll him down because he is somebody who can operate off the block. He can also shoot from the perimeter. He can also put it on the deck and be pretty damn effective rolling to the rim with it. So, yes, using him for more things, but there is benefit to having him patrolling around on the perimeter. I'm just saying.
I agree with that. And really my issue is more so when I think about it, it's like when you think about the triangle offense when Michael Jordan was playing in it. It wasn't for Mike. It was for everybody else. That's the same thing even when I think about with Towns. Towns on the block helps OG. It helps McCall. It helps Deuce.
Yeah.
It helps all the guys.
I think you get behind that.
So that's what I'm saying. The hell with Brunson. Not knocking Brunson. I love Jalen. But Jalen can go out and get 30 on his own. The guy who can't get 30 is Mikal Bridges on his own. He's not that kind of player where you can do that. OG has been great. Don't get me wrong, but do you trust? I don't trust that.
Not yet.
Yeah, no. I mean he's been fantastic, but I'm like, we saw last night that gravity hit. He came back down to earth against the great teams because he's asked to do a lot more. But when you've got guys that can shoot 35, 36% or higher from 3-point range, it would behoove you to try to get those guys open looks by having a natural passer. And Carlton Towns is an excellent passer, no matter where he's at on the floor. But the Knicks got to have movement off the ball, which we don't see sometimes. They get a little sloppy with that, or they just, standing like statues like, well, hold on, I'm going to watch Towns ISO. I'm going to watch Brunson ISO. But then then OG's just playing it out there watching. McCall's one of those dudes, you got to get him involved. He
floats. We were talking about that earlier, that the wings kind of float if they don't get involved.
But if you play with actually Tyler Colin, maybe a passing guard, maybe you ain't got to worry about him getting a shot because he kind of worked good when Tyler was throwing it to him. I mean, he had his biggest game. I think Tyler was throwing him shots. We don't need a point guard at all.
Oh, that's something we've been talking about all year. Let's go back when we change coaches, then we'll see what we got there because we're not going to see it here. And like I said, I am not bullish on their chances in the playoffs, so I think we're going to be changing coaches within the next couple months. But that's just me. Especially if it's a first round loss. If it's a first round loss, there's no saving him whatsoever. So not rooting for it. Again, I am not rooting for that.
No one
I don't want the Knicks to lose. No, I mean, I'll never root for my team to lose. But if a byproduct of the loss is them moving on from the coach, I won't be upset either.
If they lose in the first round, it's going to be an interesting show after that happens.
Oh, it's great.
I think I might just have like the background of like peasants walking around with pitchforks and torches ready to burn the castle.
Yeah.
Got Penguin in jail in Arkham.
The Frankenstein villagers, the ones that were like storming the tower.
This will definitely fall on Leon Rose. This is his legacy right now. It's going to be on the line.
It's tough though because he's done a lot of good as well.
He has.
Like both of them have done a
Mhm.
lot of good. Yeah, but I don't know. Like, does we could talk about this later? But does a first round loss get Dolan to come back into the picture? Because he's been quiet. He's been quiet, letting the basketball people do their thing. Does a first round loss make him say, okay, now we're going backwards? Like, what are we doing here?
Well, according to him on the roommates, he said that, Wes, Rose, and Thibodeau brought a plan to him. And he says, if that plan, so far, he said, has worked. I don't know what the plan is. We don't know. But it sounded like to me like he was indicating that, well, as long as they stick to what they claim is supposed to be happening, I don't have a problem. But I'm going to be telling you, he cutting some hellified checks.
Mm-hmm.
You're maxed out as a team.
Yeah.
First round, there's no way in hell.
And you're talking about an owner that's been more leveraged with his various business stuff going on than he has ever been.
Yeah, he loves that sphere too. Don't forget
he's
the sphere.
Leveraged, dude. He's not as liquid and as fluid as he has been historically. He's got problems.
Yeah, well, MSG, when they went off of Optimum, that was one of the issues. They thought they would go bankrupt if they didn't sign another deal with Optimum. So you're looking at, I'm telling you, if it's a first round and he cut the checks, then Jalen Brunson gave the greatest discount on the planet. Obviously, we know about that. But this team can't make no more moves, and he's getting a hell of a check. This can't be a first round egg. That's his epic failure. I think a second round is almost failure. So a first round is devastating.
Yeah, like second round, like you guys were saying before, second round, if they lose to Boston, you can still say, well, we lost to the team. And especially if Boston goes on and wins again, they can say, well, wait, we lost the eventual champions. That's not the worst thing in the world. But if they lose to Detroit or Milwaukee, being in the first round, having home court advantage, that is not going to fly over well. Because I'm pretty sure that wasn't part of the Tibbs.
That wasn't part of the plan they had to
the West plan that they gave. And they brought the Dolan. Pretty sure.
It's almost 50-50 that it happens.
I know.
It's
I'm
50.
telling you.
I don't see them losing in the first round. I still don't.
I was more confident in them going in to play the Hawks a few years ago, the first time where they lost, than I am this year going in to play Detroit or Milwaukee.
I've seen more encouraging play in the last month than I have in the couple of months preceding it, to be honest with you. I think we're in a better spot.
Defensively, yes. Defensively,
that's what the problem is, though. We don't have offensive problems. We're a pretty solid offensive team. Our defense sucks. I've seen improvements in that area, so I'm not ready to write them off in the first round yet. And again, I was telling Eric this before, man. I've seen crazier stuff happen, like that Hawks team that beat us in the first round.
Mm-hmm.
They went all the way to the conference finals, and no one saw that happening. Some teams just get hot, and it could happen to us too.
Oh, I agree. I don't think that it can happen. But then you look at last night, Mitchell Robinson comes down, and we don't know about him because he came down on somebody.
Yeah.
And he's a huge part
of the playing tomorrow.
And he's not, see, I'm telling you, he came down.
There's radio silence as to.
Yeah, he injured something last night. We won't know about it until like next year, and he's still not playing. But he hurt something. So when you're shorter team and you're going against them dogs up, you got beef stew. You got Duran. You got some dogs over in Detroit.
They're big guys too.
The Knicks come out playing soft as baby crap. I'm telling you, you should be very fearful. I think it's a great test, but I'm nervous as a cooker in church, thinking about sitting next to the holy water bath. Because I'm gonna tell you one thing. Last night I'm like,
where the hell did you pull that out of?
I don't know. But let me tell you, I was sitting there last night and I was disgusted because I'm like, I'm getting a stomach cramp. I'm like, what's his name? Smokey in Friday goes, oh, I gotta go home. My stomach hurt. That's how it's fun. I'm like, I gotta go home. I'll be back, Craig. Because I'm like, damn, you lose this game this way. And that's the problem with the first round. They can lose games like they did last night from not adjusting a damn thing. The coach won't adjust. And it's the most maddening, sickening thing to watch as a Knicks fan because we see where the team is at potentially, and they know we're close, and now this dude is standing in the damn way. Get him the hell out of here quick because this is our only shot. I'm 52. Eric's the baby in the group. Joe, you're a year or so older than me. This is it. This might be it. This might be it.
We see how good they can be when everything's clicking. They are a very, very good basketball team. But there's these and it's kind of the opposite too. When they're bad, they're a very bad basketball team. Like that's the other thing. Like when
I get the sense that Mitch was hurt like that yesterday. Think it's bad.
Watch the play when he comes back. When he came down, and then he left. He left him.
Well, they're calling it now just his normal recovery maintenance, but normally that's for back-to-backs. This isn't a back-to-back situation. Like they have today off, and then they're playing tomorrow.
I'm telling you.
So maybe he aggravated something a little bit, and they're just being cautious. But yeah, I mean, it was surprising when I saw his name on the guys they're already ruling out for tomorrow. Like him, OG's not playing tomorrow.
The head, man. We don't need that.
I know. It's crazy. He is such a big part of the team. He really is.
Watch that play and tell me what you.
I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna go back to it.
Watch it again. I'm telling you. When I saw it last night, I cringed because I'm like, it's like he's hurt.
That's the one injury we literally cannot survive.
Yeah. No.
So we cannot survive him getting hurt. All right. Well, we're going to shut it down. I will not be here the next 2 weeks. I will be in Japan. So actually next week, I'll actually still be flying to Japan, but the following week I'll be in Japan. So, so I will not be here, but these two guys probably will be, I'm assuming. They're going to want to talk about the playoffs because yes, you guys are going to carry the torch.
That's what we're going to be.
I will, I don't know what time it would be there now. I don't know if I'd be able. I think it's it's 9:30 there now, I think, or something like that. So 9:30 in the morning. So maybe I could pop in at 9:30 in the morning and be like, hey, I'm eating breakfast. What's up? I don't know. I'm not planning on bringing my laptop, so I don't know, but I could always hop maybe on my phone. I don't know. It might be fun to hop in from Japan. But anyway, these two guys will be back, talk the playoffs.
We crying in Japan. You don't want to see that ugly smoke. Just enjoy it.
I want to it's going to be weird for me to be following a game kind of a day ahead of what's actually happening here.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is kind of crazy.
Yeah, it's going to be crazy.
Best case scenario is I heard Tokyo nightlife is really fun.
Yeah.
Would be you coming in at 9:30 in the morning, just coming in from a night out. That would be a perfect show.
I found the Knicks. They were on somewhere.
Cursing and stuff, ruining this family program.
Don't you'll be crying. Don't be doing that to yourself. Just hit us up and we'll tell you what's going on. Don't.
I will. I'll still be chatting.
Don't do that ugliness because I'm scared. I ain't gonna lie. I told you. I'm
trust me. That's what I said to Joe before. That's why normally I'd be freaking out. I'm gonna miss it. I'm not even that upset that I'm gonna miss this one. I'm not even that worried.
At least you come back pleasantly surprised.
Oh, I hope so. I hope I come back and they're up 3-1 because I should be back before the series ends. So I'm hoping I come back and they're up 3-1 or whatever. And I'm like, okay, yeah, we just need one more and move to the second round. But I'm expecting it to be 2-2 at some point. I'm expecting the series to be tied. That's my expectation. And then what happens in game 5, obviously, usually dictates what happens. Although it didn't last year, but it usually does dictate what happens
This could go 7
in the rest of the series.
This
So,
could go 7 games.
I'm surprised.
I'm bracing for it because I'm like, either they come out like jailbreakers and they just beat the hell out of Detroit, which I don't. So I'm picking Detroit in a alley fight. Put it that way. If it's an alley fight, I'm taking the Knicks are not tough. They're not a tough team.
I'm taking the Knicks in the first round.
I
don't think it's 7 games either. I think 5 or 6 games. I think they're going to win cleanly in the first round.
I wish I had that conviction.
I don't know where it's coming from.
The second round, I don't see us coming.
I have no idea, Joe, why you're so confident, but I'm glad one of us is. So.
I'm glad. I'm gonna pray on this one.
I'm just hoping it's not a Willie Cauley-Stein. That's all I'm hoping.
Jesus! Eric's gonna come to my funeral because I'm older than him. He's gonna walk up to the casket. He's gonna say 2 things to me. He's gonna go Willie Cauley-Stein and solar system. That's the last thing Eric ever says to me.
Yeah, we need towns to be a planet or
exactly
a moon or something.
Yep. Eric's got a memory like an elephant.
That's so funny.
Man, yeah, Willie Cauley-Stein. I remember that conversation very well. All right, guys. Anything you want to tell the public?
Pray for us. That's what
I just want to say, Eric, have a wonderful time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
I am beyond pleased that you are going out and seeing the world and doing all these exciting things, and I hope you have a fantastic time. And me and Ty will keep it locked down while you're away.
Bring us back some Mr. Fuji shirts.
Thank you. Yes.
So I can throw some salt in their eye like Thibodeau's eye. I'm gonna wear Mr. Saito and just throw the salt right in his eye.
I'm gonna try and bring back stuff from Japan and get it to you guys. So if there's anything that you actually want, let me know.
So there's no heavy tariff. So
I know.
Oh Jesus! Let's go there.
All I know is they have vending machine pizza there. I do know that.
They have everything in vending machine.
I know it's crazy.
I was gonna say something kind of lurid, but I'm not. It has to do with vending machines and what I heard about Japan, but we're gonna leave that alone.
Yeah, they got some stuff over there.
You can get anything from a vending machine, apparently.
Yeah.
Okay, on that note, I don't even want to know.
That's all you gotta
do. It's an article of clothing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Nice. I can't. Anyway, all right, let's wrap this one up. For Ty and Joe, I'm Eric. Thank you for watching All Knicked Up. See you next time.